blue pickup truck passed them the other way, doing at least 80. Without warning, something flew out of the truck driver's window and landed in the back seat of the LeBaron. Terry heard Jason yell, then Jennifer started to wail. "Pull over," Jerry cried. "Easy does it," said her husband. The convertible skidded to a halt in a spray of grass and gravel. The whelpers scrambled from the car, checked themselves for injuries, and reassembled by the side of the road. "It was two guys," Jason declared, pointing down the road. "White guys, too." "Are you sure?" asked his mother. The family had been on guard for possible trouble from blacks and Hispanics. A neighbor in Dearborn had given them the scoop on South Florida. "They looked white to me," Jason said of the assailants. Terry Welper frowned. "I don't care if they were purple. Just tell me, what did they throw?" Jennifer stopped crying long enough to say, "I don't know, but it's alive." Terry said, "For Christ's sake." He walked over to the convertible and leaned inside for a look. "I don't see anything." Jennifer cried even harder, a grating subhuman bray. "You don't believe me," she said, sobbing emphatically with each word. "Of course we believe you," said her mother. "I saw it too," said Jason, who rarely took his sister's side on anything. "Try down on the floor, Dad." Terry Welper got into the back of the LeBaron, squeezed down to his knees, and peered beneath the seat. The children heard him say, "Holy shit." Then he leapt out of the car. "What is it?" asked his wife. "It's a rat," said Terry Welper. "The ugliest goddamn rat I ever saw." "They threw a rat in our car?" "Apparently." Jason said, "Too bad we didn't bring Grandpa's gun." Jerry Welper looked shaken and confused. "Why would they throw a rat in our car? Is it alive?" "Very much so," Terry reported. "It's eating from a bag of raisinets." "Those are mine," Jennifer cried. The Welpers stood there discussing the situation for 15 minutes before a highway patrol car pulled up and a young state trooper asked what was the matter. He listened sympathetically to the story about the rat in the rented LeBaron. "You want me to call the Avis people?" he asked. "Maybe they'll send another car." "Actually, we're on a pretty tight schedule," explained Jerry Welper. "We've got reservations at a motor lodge in Key Largo. They said we had to be there by 5 or else we lose the rooms." Jennifer, who had almost stopped crying, said, "I don't care about the motel. I want a different car." Terry Welper said to the trooper, "If you could just help me get rid of it." "The rat?" "It's a big one," Terry said. "Well, I can probably shoot it." "Could you?" Jerry said. "Please?" The trooper said, "Technically it's against regulations, but since you're from out of town—" He stepped out of the patrol car and unsnapped the holster strap on his .357. "Wow," said Jason. Jennifer put her arms around her mother's waist. Terry Welper manfully directed his brood to move safely out of the line of fire. The state trooper approached the LeBaron with the calm air of a seasoned lawman. "He's under the seat," Terry advised. "Yeah, I see him." The trooper fired 3 times. Then he holstered the gun, reached into the convertible, and picked up what remained of the creature by what remained of its tail. He tossed the misshapen brown lump into some holly bushes. "Thank you so much," said Jerry Welper. "You say it was a blue pickup. You didn't happen to see the license plate?" "No," said Terry. He was wondering what to tell Avis about the bullet holes in the floorboard. When the kids climbed back into the rental car, their mother said, "Don't touch any of those raisins. We'll get more candy when we get to the amazing kingdom." "Good, I want a Petey Possum popsicle," Jennifer said, nearly recovered from the trauma. Jason asked if he could keep one of the empty shell casings out of the state trooper's revolver, and the trooper said sure. Terry Welper grimly contemplated the upcoming journey in the red, rat-befouled LeBaron. He felt fog-headed and emotionally drained. To think, just that morning he'd been safe and sound in his bed back in Michigan. "Don't forget to buckle up," said the trooper, holding the door open. Terry said, "This ever happened before?" "What do you mean?" "This rat business." "I'm sure it has. We don't hear about everything." The trooper smiled as he closed Terry Welper's door. "Now, you all have a nice vacation." In the blue pickup truck, still heading north, Danny Pogue said, "That was the damnedest thing I ever saw." Bud Schwartz, who was driving, said, "Yeah, that was some shot, if I do say so." "There was kids in that car." "It was just a mouse, for Christ's sakes." "It wasn't a mouse, it was a rat." Danny Pogue poked his partner in the shoulder. "What if those was your kids? You like it somebody throws a fucking rat in their laps?" Bud Schwartz glanced at the place on his shoulder where Danny Pogue had touched him. Then he looked back at the highway. His bare, bony arms got rigid on the steering wheel. "I wasn't exactly aiming for the kids." "Were two?" After a few strained moments, Bud Schwartz said, "You don't see that many convertibles anymore." "So when you finally see one, you throw a rat in it? Is that the deal?" Danny Pogue picked at a pair of ripe pimples on the peak of his Adam's apple. "Now let's just drop it," said Bud Schwartz. But Danny Pogue remained agitated all the way to Florida City. He told Bud Schwartz to let him off in front of the Long John Silvers. "No way," said Bud Schwartz. "Then I'll jump out of the goddamn truck." Danny Pogue would damn sure try it too, Bud thought. Jump out of the damn truck purely on principles. Bud Schwartz said, "Hey, you don't want to do that. We got to go get your money." "I'll find my own ride." "It'll look hinky. We don't show up together." Danny Pogue said, "I'm not riding nowhere with a guy that throws rats on little kids. Understand?" "What if I said I was sorry?" Bud Schwartz said. "I'm sorry, all right? It was a shitty thing to do. I feel terrible, Danny. Honest to God, I feel like a shit." Danny Pogue gave him a sideways look. "I mean it," said Bud Schwartz. "You got me feeling so bad, I have half a mind to cry. Swear to God, look here, my eyes are all watered up. For a second I was thinking of Bud Jr., about what I'd do. Some asshole throwed a rat or any other damn animal at my boy. Probably kill him, that's what I'd do." As he spun through this routine, Bud Schwartz was thinking, the things I'd do to keep him steady. And it seemed to work. In no time, Danny Pogue said, "It's all right, Bud. At least nobody got hurt." "That's true. But don't scare no more little kids, understand?" Bud Schwartz said, "I won't, Danny. That's a promise." 10 minutes later, stopped at a traffic light in Cutler Ridge, Danny Pogue turned in the passenger seat and said, "Hey, it just hit me." He was grinning so wide that you could count all the spaces where teeth used to be. "What?" said Bud Schwartz. "I remember you told me that Bud Schwartz wasn't your real name. You said your real name was Mickey Riley." Mike Riley," said Bud Schwartz, thinking, here we go. "Okay, then how could you have a kid named Bud Jr.? "Well, if your name's Mike." "Simple. I changed the boy's name when I changed mine." Danny Pogue looked skeptical. Bud Schwartz said, "A boy ought to have the same name as his daddy, don't you agree?" "So his real name was Mike Jr. Now it's Bud Jr." "You say so," said Danny Pogue, grinning again, a jack-o'-lantern with volcanic acne. "What, you don't believe me?" "No, I don't believe you," said Danny Pogue. "But it was a damn good story, whatever your fucking name is." "Bud is just fine, Bud Schwartz. And let's not fight no more, we're gonna be rich." Danny Pogue got 2 beers out of the styrofoam cooler in the back of the cab.